Just saw the movie Wonderstruck. I had no preconceived ideas of what it was even about. Just had to do something for a few hours and chose one that I hadn't seen at the theater there in Torrance. And as some of you know, I do movie reviews for Christians, so I'm always looking for things to talk about from a theological perspective and pray about. Pray the movies. So, spoiler alert, I might be telling you a few things about the movie that happened that if you haven't seen it and you want to see it without any ideas of what happens, then you might not want to listen to this until afterwards. So the movie starts out with this young boy, cute little kid in the 70s. He would probably, I think it was 77, 10 years old. In 77, I was 10 years old in 77. I don't know how old he was, but he was in 77. He looked like he was about 10 or so. So there's that instant connection right there. And I know, they had all the 70s looks down to a T. He had the long hair. The older guys had the big glasses, and the black guys had the big afros. And they showed the 70s cars. I had a 73 Chevy Caprice Classic for a while. So that was kind of cool to see how they made it into a 70s movie. But it also flashed back to the early or mid 20s, I guess it was. And young girl, also, well, we haven't gotten to that part yet, but there's a young girl who's deaf, and her dad is mean to her, and so she runs away to New York City, and then finds her brother. It turns out this young girl later on in the story is an old. Then they show her in the 70s, and now she's an older lady, and she's played by Julianne Moore, who I have not liked in recent movies. Maybe just because she plays the evil one. Like several different movies that she's not very endearing. But she does a good job in this. She plays a nice, lovable, turns out to be the kid's grandmother. And so the kid, back to the boy, who's the main character in the 70s, he's growing up with his mom, and he keeps asking his mom about his dad. But the mom won't tell him for some reason. So one night he sneaks out into an adjoining building. I guess they had another house, or I don't know, maybe it was a garage built into a studio or something. But he sneaks out of the house and he goes across the lawn to another building, and there he gets into some like scrapbooks and old stuff, and he finds this book called Wonderstruck. Inside it, there's like a bookmark with a New York City uh, bookshop phone number on it, and the note, and a handwritten note on the back of it. And so Danny, who's the boy in the movie, starts to die, or is his name Danny? Anyways, the boy in the movie starts to dial the phone number. It's one of those 70s phones, rotary dial. And just as he reaches, I think, the sixth or seventh number, lightning strikes. And it goes through he's holding the receiver up to his ear, And the lightning goes through the wires and down through the house and into his ear, and he gets basically struck by lightning in his ears, in his ear, I guess, both ears. But I mean, he wakes up in the hospital and he's deaf. Everything else is fine, but he's just deaf. He can still talk. He doesn't know any. He doesn't know how to. Obviously, doesn't know sign language yet. It's not that quick. But so everything is communicated by writing it down on a piece of paper. And while he's still in the hospital, he still has this idea of going to New York to find this bookshop where he thinks his dad might still be, because he doesn't know what happened to his dad. He has a hunch that he might be there. So he sneaks out of the hospital and runs away. He has a wallet full of money to help him. And that's about the way it goes. He's deaf, as you know. He meets a young man, a young boy, about his same age. It's not like an action movie. That's why, I mean, it's a very unique style film. With this little melody playing the whole time. Once in a while they play some 70s music. Kind of a dreamy movie. He has these dreams also, real dreams of wolves. Where the movie starts out, I think it was called Gunflint, Minnesota. And he has these dreams of wolves that scare him at night, nightmares. And that's a theme in the movie. And so he continues his quest to find the bookstore. And this young black boy helps him hide for a few days too. Gives him a place to sleep in a museum. And eventually he finds the bookstore and meets an older man, and as he meets this older man, he's not sure who he is yet at the bookstore. A lady walks in who is Julianne Moore, and she's playing this older lady now. She doesn't look that old in the movie, not old enough really. That was one problem. But she turns out to be his grandmother, and she's deaf, and she's a young girl who was in the 20s, who came to New York City herself, trying to find some connection. And the guy in the bookstore is her brother. So she's his grandmother, and I guess that's, I don't know, your grandmother's brother would be your great uncle or something? I don't know. And so that's how it goes. And then he finds out his dad had actually died at some point. His dad had lived in Gunflint, Minnesota, but when he came back to New York, he died shortly thereafter. And they don't explain why his mother wouldn't tell him that. It was just too hard for her, I guess. And Julianne slowly explains it to him by writing it down in a little notebook. And that's about it. I mean, it's really, there's not much to this movie. It's cute, it's whimsical, it's nice. you don't really get bored because they do keep the suspense going. They keep you thinking there's going to be some kind of big epiphany, big wow moment. So you're hanging in there. The problem is the wow moment never really actually comes. He doesn't find his dad. They never tell. They never indicate whether his mom finds him again or he returns to his mom. There's no happy reunion or anything like that. So it's just kind of unique, I guess. Just from a movie review perspective. For Christians, what do we pray for families and the family unit to stay intact. And for those with disabilities, I mean, this wasn't really a disability movie, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, he went deaf, but it's not like about him trying to overcome a disability. It's more about him trying to find his father. I mean, you could make the same movie without him being deaf. So, it's based on a book, I guess. I forget who. And I'm kind of stuck about what to say and how to evaluate it, and any real great suggestions. Pray for family unity. I guess that's the best I can come up with. Family unity. Try to stay together. Try to be good kids. Be good. Be respectful to your parents. Parents, don't exasperate your kids. And so the story goes. We'll leave it at that. There's nothing objectionable in this movie in terms of language or nudity or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about that. You can take your kids to it. In fact, it's probably a good kid movie. The kids are nice in the film. They're just normal 70s kids back in the good old days when I grew up. Enjoy. God be with you and bless you.